and Daniels, Scorpio Sky. Um, First time I ever got a chance to see Scorpio Sky do his thing, and I tell you, man, he reminds me of Tuco Scorpio.
He's good,
He's
man.
like Tuco Scorpio reincarnated, man. I
Yeah.
swear. I mean, I don't know if that's where he got the name from, or he's like, man, I kind of look like Tuco a little bit. You know what I mean? I kind of work like Tuco a little bit, so maybe I ought to call myself Scorpio Sky. And
That's a cool name.
No, it really is. And the brother can actually go out there and work. Got a chance to work the Strong Hearts. And I tell you, man, what AEW made me feel like when I watched it was it felt like the AEW, not the AWA, but the NWA, like from '86 to '89.
How so?
Because it was just, wrestling, man, and the guys were going out there and performing. All it was about was just wrestling, and we're gonna do some stuff that's gonna shock and amaze everybody. That's what it was about. And then then the fatal four way with Awesome Kong, making her unexpected entry, let's say, against Kylie Ray and what's her name?
Britt Baker and
Nyla Rose. And I tell you, and it was different. You know what I mean? It was different. Those ladies went out there and they performed. They performed at a high level. They did some stuff that was different. It made you want to watch more wrestling. It didn't. From the highlight, I didn't get a chance to see the whole show, but the highlighted version, I didn't see a whole lot of talking or anything like that.
No, there was no talking on the show. But, this was a pay-per-view, so there wasn't a lot of backstage stuff. It was really all bell to bell, curtain to curtain stuff. They're like, we're just trying to get in wrestling. We want to show you what we can do inside the ring. But I think it was a smart idea for their first outing. Let's just show you how good the wrestling can be.
Well, that right there, as well as trying to create storylines. Trying to see, okay, what do we go next? What's going to be our next big deal that we're going to go out there and do? And we got to get people to buy in, because that's what they've been talking about more than anything.
Yeah, and that was the name of their pre-show, the buy-in.
You like that, don't
yeah.
you?
Your boy Glacier was on the buy-in, by the way. He was in the Battle Royal at the beginning of the show.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Glacier was in there, Tommy Dreamer,
well
Billy Gunn.
You know what? See, now that's what made me have that feeling again. From back in the day, wrestling it used to be like a nucleus of wrestlers between the younger guys, guys who've been there somewhat a little bit, and then the older guys who've been around a little bit longer. And we talked about it on the show about Kazarian and Daniels. But what was really, really cool, and that I must say, is they talked about the older guys like they were veterans. And the guy that was up under them was, they were pros. But, we don't know, is the older guy going to run out of gas? They talk like that.
Right.
So it gave the show
a real feel, like a sport feel.
It really did. You know what I mean? So
that's not the same thing.
So I tell you, the Cody Rhodes and Dustin Rhodes match, it was a bloodbath.
Yeah.
I mean, those guys went out there and they did everything. They did everything, and you talking about, we might even want to go back to, 1980 as far as, Cody and Dustin, because those guys, you see Dustin, I mean, he was bleeding so bad. I mean, it was like you could put a bucket up under him and it would, start to feel. That's how much blood was coming out of this man's
one
body.
of the commentators said he's sweating blood.
Yeah, and he actually looked like he was sweating blood.
Yeah.
And I tell you, Goldie at 50 years old, don't look like he's missed a beat, man. Yeah. And that's what I talk about also. Being out of the game, staying out of the game too long, you can't do it. You got to stay on top of it. If you call yourself giving yourself a break, you just giving yourself a break. I'm serious, because when you go back, it's going to be much, much tougher on you. One thing about Goldie, he have never stepped away from this game, and time off is your worst enemy, and he's never taken any time off, and that's why he still works. I don't know how much time they put in, but they put in some time.
I think they worked almost a half hour.
It
was close
to.
They
put in some time, and I tell you, Goldie went out there, and how many times have you seen in a wrestling company where two brothers just say, "Man, let's just fight and go and get it over with"? because we know we're going to do it somewhere down the road. So let's do it now. The first night.
Well, I feel like you had to.
Well,
right?
I don't think so.
No?
Most of the times, it wouldn't have been done that way.
Well, they would have started planting the seeds.
Well, no, it would have been an angle to where we hate each other, but they did an angle where, okay, let's fight, and then immediately say we're going to tag the next one after we just had this knockdown drag. We still love it. You know what? I can hit my brother, but nobody else can.
Yeah.
It was one of those type of deals, and that's what I got out of it, because I feel the same way. I mean, I can hit my brother, but I'm not going to let anybody else hit my brother. You know what I mean? So
I can talk bad about him. You can't talk bad.
Exactly. So I tell you, man, for those guys to be able to, go out there and, have a match like that, bring that style of wrestling back to where, like I say, it was so much blood.
Was it too much blood?
Well, that's the thing. That's the question. Do the fans want that right now? Do I want my 8-year-old kid, watching, a match like that? I came in on him just yesterday, and he was having a match, and I glanced at the television, and it was a table in the ring, and it was on fire. And I was like, whoa.
This is on the video game?
Yeah. I was like, whoa, hold him up, man. I mean, we don't need to be doing all this kind of, you know what I mean? I had to shut him down for wanting to have that kind of match, because he started messing around with me, and he bucked up on me. You know what I mean? And I had to shut him down. I go, look, man, calm down. And he thought he was one of the wrestlers. And I say, nah, bro. I say, hey, look, man, I'm your dad. You know what I mean? I say, I'm not, one of the characters, in the video game. I say, I can really hurt you, and, I had to, pick him up and boom, dump him on the bed and tell, hey, bro, chill. You know what I mean? So I don't know if, I don't know. I'm just saying.
I'm with you. And when I see blood, even now, working around the business and all that, it makes me a little uncomfortable to see it now when it's intentionally done. But I don't think AEW is going to be for an 8-year-old. I think it's supposed to be for a little bit older audience. It's the TV 14 now, like the Attitude Era back. I was watching the Attitude Era back in the day, and there was blood and scantily clad women and all kinds of things. I probably shouldn't have been watching it. My mother wished that I didn't. But I don't think that AEW is shooting for Kendrick. I think they're shooting for, people older than that.
Well, you have kids who
they're going to watch.
Who shouldn't smoke cigarettes, and they'll tell a grown-up, hey, you think you can go in there and pick me up a pack? You know what I mean? Here's a 20, you can keep change. That type of deal. Yeah. It happens, you know what I mean? So I think kids are going to see it. I think they did talk about that stuff like that would happen more only on pay-per-views. Okay. Yeah. Which makes a lot of sense.
Well, I mean, it's what it's supposed to be back in the day.
Well, yeah, exactly. If you're going to do that, there's a place for it. And I do think if you're going to have a pay-per-view, and it's a pay-per-view that just be, I mean, if you curse, you know what I mean?
There was some words.
Exactly, you know what I mean? It makes it a little bit more real. I don't.
And for their story, brother versus brother, who's the father's favorite and that kind of stuff. It made sense. I still get squeamish seeing the blood nowadays because I've been so conditioned to not seeing it anymore. Yeah. And I personally don't like it. It's not for me.
That's the question.
But I understand the drama.
That's the question that's going to be asked in the long run. Is wrestling ready to bring that back?
Certain things die off because they should, right? Certain things change because it's time to. We don't see chair shots to the head anymore, right?
Well, yeah, that's true. But one thing about it, I do think if it is blood, people are going to tune in. Blood and gore sells. Right. I mean, you're not going to watch a horror movie if it's somebody's not getting their head chopped off. I'm serious.
Right. But I don't expect to see this kind of match on TNT.
No, that's what I say. I mean, for pay-per-view, I mean, to be able to, step outside of the box, to be able to, get a little bit more edgier. I think that's why it's called pay-per-view. It's bigger than television. You're going to see more than you see on television. And I think something like that is needed for the business, as well as going out there and working hard, man, for the AAA Tag Team Championship. And I tell you, man, I never got a chance to see the Lucha Brothers go, but them brothers, man, they defy gravity, man. They could do
crazy.
They do some of the craziest stuff, and it's a place for guys like one thing about AEW, there is really no identity to any certain
No.
person or whatnot. I mean, you can look like whatever, you just performing in that company, and I think that's what's really, really good. Lucha Brothers, man, big ups, man. Those guys are good.
Those guys are awesome.
Young Bucks, man. I mean, they actually took me to another level. I never really got a chance to see the Young Bucks perform to that level. Because I think they knew they had to go out there and do something big, and they did. I must say, awesome work. Work.
They really. I was impressed. I remember the Young Bucks. They got to wrestle it All In, but it was cut short. So this time they're like, look, we're gonna go on, not last. We're gonna go second to last. We're gonna make sure we got plenty of time.
Get all that stuff in,
and we're gonna get all our stuff in. I did love, and this was like a minor nitpick on the show, but I love how there were all these tag matches. There was like 6-man tags and whatever. And then this one, there wasn't a single tag in the whole match. I don't know if you noticed that. There's no tags in this match.
Yeah.
It was really a team match, not a tag team match.
Yeah.
But it was so impressive, and the moves these guys pulled off. I don't remember which one of the Lucha Brothers it was, but that spot in the corner where he jumped up on what I didn't remember which one of the Bucks it was on his shoulders and then did the flip off of that. I think it was off of Nick Jackson's shoulders.
Amazing, man, the stuff that those guys can go out there and do. So.
It was incredible. That was a really fun match.
That's what I remember back in WCW. Those Mexican
cruiserweights, right?
Man, those guys, man, they could do anything, man. I used to love, sitting back in the back, watching the monitor and narrating those guys' matches. But I tell you, Chris Jericho, Kenny Omega, they came out there and they closed the show.
Yeah.
Closed the show and
they worked the main event match.
Yeah, they did. And Chris Jericho, I tell you, man, Chris Jericho is still willing to do anything, man. He's still willing to, throw caution to the wind and just do it. And I give him a lot of credit for that. I give him a lot of credit because I can honestly tell you, as you get older, you start losing your nerve. You know what I mean? You start you losing that you feel. And Chris Jericho still seemed like he's still got that. I say that, from experience. It's like right now people say, man, you ever think about getting back in the ring and performing? And I go, man, no, because really, I was so scared when I had to wrestle. I was so scared. I was like, on the inside of just a ball of nerves, and I think it took that to be able to go out and perform at a very high level, and to actually do that. Now I think I don't know what I would do, if I had to go through that. And I watched Chris Jericho, and he does it with the greatest of ease. Big shout out to Mick Jagger, aka Chris Jericho.
I mean, to see him still, he's knocking on the door of 50, right? And to see him still hit that lion salt beautifully. He's never missed that thing. Yeah. He hits it every time. And I know some people were like, they were complaining a little bit about the finish because he has a new finisher. He's called it the Judas effect, which is the spinning back elbow. And they started to build it up in the YouTube videos. And they're like, oh, you saw all the stuff the Young Bucks did, and then an elbow just beats Kenny Omega. I'm like, yeah. That's old school wrestling right there.
50-year-old elbow. You got to understand, it was a 50-year-old elbow.
And boom, right to the back.
Right to the jaw.
You start throwing bows, man. People get knocked out. You saw Kenny legitimately broke his nose. And then, real quick, I know we got phone lines, but before we go to that, and then after Chris Jericho wins, we saw the debut of Jon Moxley, a.k.a. Dean Ambrose, made I kind of likened it to his Scott Hall moment. You remember when Scott Hall came into WCW, came to the crowd, jumped over the barrier, interrupted whatever match was going on, and it felt like a big deal.
Well, I must say I was wrong. And I said, man, Dean Ambrose, he's probably, man, come on, WWE contract. Come on, this guy probably just going to take some time, rethink things a little bit, take some vacation time, go to a nice, island beach, kick back with the woman, brother just got married not too long ago.
Yeah,
he haven't had a real honeymoon. You know what I mean? I'm talking about a month long lay in some villa. You know what I'm saying? Kicking back. And That's what I thought he would do. But then again, people ask me, man, watch you, keep rolling, watch you, not take the money and just sit on the sidelines. I say, man, momentum, it's hard. When you lose momentum, sometimes it's really, really hard to get it back. And I think with Dean Ambrose, Jon Moxley, I think he didn't want to lose that momentum, and I think he feels like he got so much more to prove, not to the wrestling world, but to himself, as far as how far he really can go. And I don't think it has nothing to do with the WWE. I really don't. I think it's got to do with everything with Jon Moxley. I really do.
Yeah, I think that he wanted to maybe do something different. I mean, just like anybody else, and I think he wanted to tap into a side of his character that he felt maybe he wasn't able to fully execute as Dean Ambrose. He's like, you know what? It's like an actor. Schwarzenegger, he could only do the Terminator so many times before he said, I want to go try something else. I want to be something besides the Terminator. Or Stallone. Stallone said, hey, I had fun doing these Rocky movies. Let me go try something else. Let me be Rambo. Sometimes you just want to shift in your character. And I think that's what Dean Ambrose, now Jon Moxley, wanted to do. And he made a huge presence. I mean, he made his presence felt
he's gonna be,
at AEW.
He's going to be in New Japan Wrestling as
And he's going to be going to New Japan.
Yeah. And I tell you, man, not a better way to, make a splash. We get the internet talking, because right now the internet is talking about Moxley, man, and this guy's, he's writing his own ticket, man. I tell you, man, this new age of the business is different, and I'm just gonna sit back and just let it all ride. Stick around, y'all. We'll be back in the hall in a minute.